Well, well, well. I did not think I'd be playing this game again. What's up, y'all? Today we're playing Gray Zone Warfare. Yep, the game that launched about a year ago in early access with a shitload of hype. And yeah, it did not deliver on the hype, and the buzz quickly died, and everybody who checked it out eventually left. But here we are. I had the itch to kind of jump back in, and coincidentally enough, they just launched a major update at the end of May. I had no idea this was happening. I kind of just had it in the back of my mind, mainly because I paid $30 for it. I was kind of thinking like, man, I did not get my money's worth on that game. And to be honest, there were so many problems that I encountered when I first played the game that I was like, there are too many things wrong with this game that this studio is no way going to be able to address them all before running out of money. And so, like I said, I honestly didn't think I'd ever come back to this game, but hey, I was like, let me give it a shot. It's been a year. Let's see if they are, made any improvements. And so I downloaded it, turned it on, found out there was a big update, and I was like, okay, it piqued my interest. And lo and behold, I'm actually liking what I'm seeing or playing. And so I wanted to make this video to talk a little bit about what is so good about this version of Gray Zone Warfare. And keep in mind, this is, I think, version 0.3, which means there is a lot more to go in order to get a 1.0. But they have implemented recently two of my favorite changes. Now, they do have, I'm sure, a huge book of patch notes that you can go read. I'll include a link actually in the video description so you can see all the new things that they've added in the last year. But two of the things that stood out to me, which I think are probably the biggest things that they've added, are a day and night cycle and dynamic weather, which they paired nicely with one another, right? And it's all about the environment. And so this video is going to mainly talk about those two things. But again, if you want to know more about what has changed in the game, check out the patch notes in the video description. And so, yeah, let's just jump right into it. So the day night cycle, right? What is that? If you're not familiar with it, basically it means the game, just like in real life, goes through a day and night cycle. And I believe the day and night cycle in this game takes about 3 hours total. And so what this also means is, say you only have 20 minutes to play the game before dinner, and so you fire it up, you want to complete a task or two, and you jump into a server, and boom, you can't pick what time of day it is. You just find out, oh crap, it's nighttime. And so it adds kind of a little bit of strategy to look at, okay, well, what gear do I need to take out into the battlefield considering it's nighttime? Which is super nice. I really like that aspect of it because it also makes you rethink how you want to approach a mission, right? Do I go in through the front door, or do I have to be a little bit sneaky? Am I protected by the darkness, or am I in the middle of the day, in the middle of a field? Like, what is it that I got to do, right? And so the day and night cycle for that reason is really cool. And then the other thing is the dynamic weather, which is pretty freaking awesome looking, I must say. And I believe this is an Unreal Engine 5 game. I think this was actually the first Unreal Engine 5 game that I've played, and was also one of the first to hit the market. And so there's definitely some good tech underneath this game. And so the dynamic weather is one of those examples of just how incredible this engine is. Because keep in mind, this map is massive, right? It's a massive jungle map. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of foliage. There's a lot of vegetation, mountains. And so the weather in this just takes the immersion of that level and that world to another level. whether it's fog, whether it's rain, whether it's a lightning storm, the thunder, all of it just comes together so nicely with the day and night cycle that again it just takes up the immersion to 11, and it really kind of adds an unpredictable flair to the game, so it's not just the same thing same time of day all the time, so it kind of makes it feel a little fresh. And another thing I'll get into here next is questing, and so I guess I'll just jump into it right now. They also made, and I'll loop it back to the dynamic night cycle and weather, and how quests kind of take advantage of that. And so back when this first launched a year ago in early access, and by the way, the game is still in early access, but when it launched a year ago, anytime you went out and completed a task or did a task, you had to complete it by actually returning back to base in order for you to complete it, which meant you would go out there, do whatever you got to do, and then you pretty much couldn't progress to the next quest in the quest line until you went back to base, which meant you had to call the chopper, get on the chopper, have the chopper take you back to base. And for what, right? All you were doing is you'd get back to base and then you hit a button that said complete. And so it really broke up the flow of what you were trying to do. And now that's definitely not the case. Now you can actually chain together your quest while you're out on the battlefield, which is pretty awesome because I'm sure that is what the devs actually intended, because now in order to do that, you as a player have to manage things like your hydration levels, your energy levels, which makes you wanna or have to hunt for things like food, water, energy drinks, things like that, so that you can stay in tip-top shape, right? So that's a really cool aspect. That's just something you have to do as you're questing. You also have to scavenge for food and water, which is really cool. But the way I wanted to tie that back to the day and night cycle was when you're out there on your second, third, or fourth mission in a row, time is going to pass and you get to actually be out in the battlefield as it turns from day to night. And that feeling, it's hard to explain, but it's just awesome. And it cranks up the immersion to a level that definitely wasn't there when this game launched back a year ago. And so again, that just feels really, really good right now. And it just makes it way more fun to play the game. And so what is the combat like, right? I know when it launched 12 months ago, the AI felt like it had a lot of room for improvement. And look, it still has room for improvement, but it feels like it's in a pretty good spot. And by that, I mean, the AI is still definitely pretty easy to kill, which I like, but also if you as a player are careless, aren't watching your corners, you're just W keying through the entire map, you will get one tapped in the head and potentially lose all of your gear. So they still are able to kind of maintain that level of tension, or that healthy level of tension as you play the game, which is super important for a game like Gray Zone Warfare. And so again, I really like where the AI is at. Again, yes, there are ways to make it better. Like, I still think they're a little too bullet spongy, especially the AI in the beginning quest. They're literally wearing sleeveless shirts and swimming trunks, and I'm unloading an entire clip and they just run behind a truck. I'm like, come on, dude, you don't even have any armor on. Like, what's going on there? But yeah, I'm sure they'll fix things like that in the future. But as far as keeping the tension high, the AI, they're doing their job. And so, yeah, I just wanted to come on here, share some of the footage that I got, talk a little bit about how excited I am for the game, because I actually feel like I might get my money's worth out of this and then some, right? So I haven't really seen too much PvP yet, or really I haven't seen any at all, but I'm totally fine with that. Like, I kind of enjoy this slower pace. I'm kind of just exploring the world, seeing what it's all about, learning the quest. It kind of really feels like a campaign to me. And so yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I'm definitely looking forward to the PvP when it comes, but I think it'll just come naturally as I progress through the quest line, which I'm excited to get through. And as far as performance, which I know may be on top of a lot of people's minds, my game's performing pretty well. Like, I don't know, it's obviously not the smoothest. I'm not getting like 200 frames, but I don't really get that in any game. But for what it is and how massive the map is and how beautiful it looks, I'm getting about 100 to 90 frames, anywhere from 80 to 100 frames. and 80 is as bad as it gets, and that's like I'm in a new place, there's a bunch of people around me, and we're in a gunfight. It'll dip down to 80. For the most part, I'm hovering around 90 to 100 frames, which again for this game is peak. It's where I wanted to be. It's not super fast paced, it's not competitive, and so I don't need to squeeze every frame out of this game like I do like in something like the finals. So again, I have everything cranked up to high. I like where it's at. I'm having a great time. And I hope this video inspires somebody who maybe likes these military simulation games to check this game out, because there is a lot to love. And yeah, that's it for this video. If you have any thoughts about Gray Zone that you'd like to share, please leave it in the comments. And you know the drill. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I will see y'all next time. Glitchy out.